Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. But we need to add a couple more on. Firstly, we've got the Mazda Miata. A lot of people are going to sit here and tell you that this is an extremely cool car. And to a great extent it is. It's available in a manual, it's small, it's relatively inexpensive, it's fun to drive, it's fun to have around. But unfortunately, me and my frame does not fit in it. Because I don't fit in it, it ends up just on the uncool side of the board. Now, in a similar vein, we've got the Porsche 718. You can consider this both the Boxster or the Cayman, represented here by the Style edition with its funky color and its writing on the side. The 718 is seen by a lot of people as the 911 that is bought because you can't afford a 911. I see it sort of a different way. I think this is a very, very cool little sports car. It's a lot of fun to drive, and the people who are not drivers that buy this car will always tell you that it's their wife's car. So you can tell if they're a driver or if they're not a driver pretty easily. Honestly, because it's available in a manual, because it's relatively inexpensive and it's got some cool features, that ends up on the cool side. On the other hand, we've got 911s. 911s, not generally available with the manual. Some of the different trim packages, like the GT3, are available with a manual. Unfortunately, however, just because of what they are, they end up over here in sort of the Porsche section. But because rules are made to be broken, Porsche came out with this, the 911 Dakar, which represents just about everything that I find cool in a car. It's interesting, it excites you when you see it, it means something that is beyond just what a 911 is. It has significance, and this ends up over here past the honorable 300C, even though it's not made anymore. That defines really the line between cool and very cool. I'm going to move it over just a little bit too. Speaking of cool or very cool, the BMW M3. Available here with a manual, as you can see, if I can point at the right thing. Available with a manual. It's very interesting, the competition edition here, but it is pig ugly, and it's not as exciting as I want an M3 to be. And because of how they're driven discourteously, it is an uncool car. BMW is also bringing out the M2. It's been out for a little while, but look at that design difference. I mean, what a difference between that M3 and the M2. Also available with a manual. This is an extremely cool little sports coupe, and it definitely earns its spot over here. Oh, this is going to be hard. Yeah, I think it's very cool. Something that we haven't seen in the States, the BMW M5 Touring. I love a wagon. My first car was a 740 Turbo, a Volvo 740 Turbo, not a BMW 740. And I absolutely love wagons. The fact that we have this, and it's the only BMW wagon, as far as I can tell, that you can buy, and it's an M5, that's just fantastic. Definitely cool. Not quite very cool, because it's just a little too utilitarian, a little too niche to be absolutely cool, but definitely up there. Now, here's something I'm incredibly proud of. We have a couple of American entries into the sports saloon category. The Cadillac CT5V Blackwing and the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing. Difference really being a V6 or a V8 engine. Both are available with a manual. Maybe hard to get, but it is possible. And that's really nice that you can actually buy a manual sports saloon that's made by a classic heritage American manufacturer, absolutely taking some spots in very cool. Now, electric cars are kind of a difficult situation. Personally, I don't see electric cars as ever possibly being very cool. This has given me pause, however. And that's not just because of the Bear insignias all around it. The Lucid Air Sapphire, the top of the line, $250,000. All of the money you're saving in gas by having an electric car, you'll spend in tires. I wanted to call this uncool. The trunk lid looks like it's a diaper, and the name is pretentious. I wanted to put this in uncool, and then you see it being driven in my experience, generally discourteously. But I can't ignore that it just has presence. It's understated, but it's ridiculous. It's cool. Now, I have to confess something before I move on to the next one. I have to bring up a conflict of interest. This is my personal car now, a 2020 Hyundai Elantra GT N-Line with a 6-speed manual. I love this car. I can get into this car and I can drive and have driven for 8 hours straight for an entire tank of gas without stopping. That's about 500 miles on the interstate. And that, I think, is the true difference between an electric car and a gas car, is the freedom to run away from your problems. You can't do that with an electric car. Not only are you only going to get 200 miles before you have to charge up again, they're going to be able to track you through the charging network. And so we come to the Ioniq 5N. Now, there's a lot of hype around this car, especially right now, because it has some really interesting features, being that it's pretending to be a gas car. And to me, that is just not cool. I want a gas car that is fun to drive. I don't want an electric car pretending to be a gas car. If I want to drive in a video game, I'll go drive in a video game. So even though the normal one, the Ioniq 5, sits here up at the top end of cool, the 5N, if it just forged its own path, it would definitely have ended up in very cool. As I'm talking about electric cars, it brings me to this, the Mustang Mach-E, talking about how you can't run away from your problems. In Thelma and Louise, the ending would have been decidedly less romantic had they had a Mach-E. It would have been a shootout at a charging station. But if they had the Mach-E Rally, they probably would have ended up making the jump. I love special editions that betray what the base car is, as you can see with the 911 Dakar. And this is going to join it near very cool. Now, all that I just said about electric cars, just ignore all of that, please. Because I bring you, our final car is the Cadillac Celestiq. I don't care if that's not how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's fun to pronounce it that way, and so I'm sticking to it. This is a $300,000 bespoke American handmade luxury wagon that is longer than the stock Cadillac, longer than the stock Cadillac Escalade. Even though this is electric, even though they can track you through the charging network, even though you can't really go that far without having to stop to recharge, this breaks the only rule that I just came up with about cool cars. That is, it doesn't matter that this is electric. The fact that this is aspirational, it represents American exceptionalism in its most positive way. It's very cool. Cadillac, I'll take mine in white with quilted burgundy leather and burl walnut on the inside with a gold coach line right down the edge. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'm only here on YouTube, and may all your lights be green. Bye-bye.